Novel, Hail the King. Chapter 5, Quest completed. Fei had quickly acclimatized to the situation. He had gone from being so nauseated from the gore that he was throwing up after killing the first monster, to becoming cold and indifferent despite the carnage that was left in his wake. All the heated monster blood on Fei's body made him feel like he was enduring a test from hell. After only a couple hours, Fei had become used to this. He was almost turning into a cold-blooded killing machine. This game existed literally for the purpose of killing. It was so real. Even the painfulness and soreness in his muscles. Fei was not sure that if he died in this realistic game world, he would respawn just like how it was in the original game, but he didn't dare to try. There was too much at stake. From the past 3 hours of killing, Fei had noticed that his knowledge about the original game weren't completely applicable in this world. He was trying his best to establish a rough understanding about the natural order of this world. In this cruel, bloody world, strength and vitality were the most important attributes to a barbarian. A lot of strength will allow your attacks to be stronger, and a lot of vitality will not only allow you to be more durable during battle, but also give you enough endurance to run away from the blood-seeking monsters. The reason why Fei distributed skill points onto weapon mastery and warcry howl is because he had no idea how to handle and use weapons properly. He was just an ordinary student. So, weapon mastery will allow him to use his hand axe more efficiently, and howl can scare the monsters away when he gets surrounded. Threats from monsters and the risk of dying forced Fei to considering survival way more than the future development of the character. After distributing all the points, Fei opened up his character status. Gamer, Fei. Character, Barbarian. Level, 5. Experience, 14,949, maximum of 22,680. Strength, 45, Dexterity, 20. Intelligence, 11. Vitality, 30. Damage, 10 to 27. Accuracy, 102. Armor, 31. Endurance, 107. Health, 105. Resource, Fury 16. Fire resistance, 0, cold resistance, 0. Lightning resistance, 5, poison resistance, 0. This status was way more impressive than the one that Fei started with. It was almost as if you could say that they were not on the same level. Not all these improvements came from leveling though, as Fei had a few special items. He had gotten a few armors and weapons from killing monsters, and he had already equipped them all. There was one, Tangerine's helmet, that gave him +1 intelligence, and +5% lightning resistance attributes. After checking the character status menu, he opened up his item slot. In this world, Fei's item slot was a spatial ring that he wore on his finger. It had 40 blocks of storage space. Every block can store stuff such as one minor healing potion. However, items did scale in this world, so axes or swords may take up to 4 to 8 blocks, depending on how big they were. Fei's item slots were full. He thought about what to do next and decided to go back to Rogue Encampment. He used a town portal scroll that he had when he spawned in this world. A 3-meter-high, blue lighting oval appeared with a slight buzzing noise. Fei hesitated a little bit and stepped into it. As Fei expected, he stepped into the Rogue Encampment when left the portal on the other side. Suddenly, he felt nauseous. He felt as though he had just stepped off a particularly fast roller coaster that involved a lot of twists and loops. Fei closed his eyes for a few seconds to get over the portal sickness. After sitting down and regaining his bearings, Fei looked around and found Priestess Akira. This high priestess was not only a source for quests but also a crafty merchant. She sold slaves and potions for battle, as well as scrolls and keys. Fei wanted to prepare really well for his first quest, Den of Evil, so that he would not get himself killed by the monster in the evil cave. From what he could remember, there was a zombie boss called Corpse Fire in there. Although finding out what has brought him into this weird world was important, he at least needed to survive until he could find out. Fei sold all the items such as gloves, broken wands and spears, the stuff he got from the monster, but didn't need, and got roughly 800 gold. Plus the gold he looted directly from the monsters, he had a total of 1,400 gold. He put all the money into good use and bought some items from Akira. A double axe with a damage rating of 6 to 15, and a suit of leather armor with a defense rating of 13. He equipped both of them and bought a couple bottles of minor healing potions, 4 town portal scrolls, and 3 identify scrolls for identifying the weapons and armors that he will get from the monsters. Fei felt a reassuring increase in his strength and power, originating from his new weapon and armor. He confidently returned to the portal that was created by him earlier. After returning to the dangerous blood moor, following the slight buzz, Fei found the Den of Evil on his map and headed that direction carefully. After looking at the situation within the cave, Fei thanked past Fei for his cautious preparations. In this world, monsters in caves and dens seem to be more aggressive and brutal than the ones on the moor. There were not only quill rats, zombies, fallen shaman and vampire, who could cast fireballs, which were common monsters that Fei saw on the moor. But also this monster called Gargantuan Beast, who looked like an ape. It had powerful attacks and thick skin for defense. Fei started his wipeout mission in the den. Since he was level 5, his damage and defense was high enough for him to breeze through the regular monsters. Blood was spilling, monsters were screaming, and Fei furiously hacked his way through the cave. Fei had become the spitting image of a grim reaper, covered in blood as he cut through the swathes of monsters coming his way. His double axe split the monsters lengthwise like a samurai sword through hot butter. Even when there was a crowd of monsters, he would sprint to the center of them and use his skill howl so that he could finish them off one by one after they were scared and running away. He also saw a lot of ruined human corpses in the den. Some were on the ground, some were chained onto the pillars, with intestines falling out and missing eyeballs. Even some female rogues were assaulted by these hideous monsters. With flies circling around these rotten corpses, the scenes were too horrifying for anyone to look at. Fei's mind was filled with anger. Although Fei knew that this scenario originated from a game, he couldn't help but to situate himself as a human of this world. With all the anger burning in his chest, he went into this mad mode, where he smashed and crushed monsters like they were nothing. Finally, after God knows how long, when the last monster in front of Fei had died screaming in its own blood, beams of golden light fell from the sky and shined up every corner of the den. Shortly after, a familiar voice spoke in Fei's mind. "Congratulations, Gamer Fei. You have completed Priestess Akira's quest, and passed the first test of this Diablo world. Now you shall return to Rogue Encampment and receive your prizes from Akira." This voice cleared Fei's mind. He breathed heavily and glanced at his surroundings. He was surprised to find out that all the monsters had been killed by him already. Even the boss of the den, Corpse Fire, was dead on the ground. A pile of gold coins and various items was lying around the mess that had become of its body. Did I go crazy? Fei thought about what had happened. He couldn't believe what he saw in the game world triggered his deep anger. However, it wasn't his fault, this world is too real. Anyone would feel the same way. He stood there for a while and then started to clean up Battleground. The gold coins didn't take any blocks in the item slot, so he picked them up first. Then he started to pick up the more valuable items from Corpse Fire. 2 magic items had drawn Fei's attention. He drooled as the 2 items glowed in a soft blue light. But shit. A grim wand, and a javelin. Are you serious? Why aren't there any barbarian items? After actually inspecting what those 2 items were, Fei was super disappointed. It was like seeing a lake in the middle of the desert, when you are also dying of thirst, and realizing it was only a mirage after. Screw my luck. There was nothing Fei could do about it. He picked 2 unidentified magic items and planned to sell them off to Akira for a good price. After he picked everything up, he used a town portal scroll. He was ready to go back to Rogue Encampment and claim his rewards from Akira. He also wanted to ask her about how and why he appeared in this game world. This question was bothering him for a long time. At this moment, the mysterious, cold voice spoke again. "Warning. You have reached the maximum gaming time for today. Exiting countdown, 3, 2, 1, exiting."